The $2 million AI engine, Apex Dynamic Salvation, sputtered, sparked, and died with a gut-wrenching whine that echoed the silence of the 40-story building. This was the sixth straight week the MIT-educated engineering team had failed to fix the prototype, and the German investors were flying in tomorrow. The sterile, 40th floor boardroom, overlooking a cold, gray November morning in Boston, smelled of burnt electronics and stale coffee. The most expensive smell in the room, however, was the sharp, costly perfume radiating from CO Eleanor Vance. Eleanor, 40s and impeccably dressed, gripped the glass table, her knuckles white. She was furious and cornered. Across from her, Dr. Evelyn Reed, 60s, the sharp, analytical advisor representing the German partners, closed her notepad. She wasn't angry, just disappointed, which was infinitely worse. The MIT engineers, all half her age, stared at their useless laptops, unable to make eye contact. Dr. Reed finally stood. "Ms. Vance, our partnership hinges on this technology. You have 24 hours to find a solution, or we pull our funding." The room emptied, leaving Eleanor alone in the wreckage. A moment later, the door hissed open, and Marcus Cole, 30s, entered pushing a maintenance cart. He was followed by Sal Salvatore, a weary Boston native in his 60s, counting the days to retirement. They moved with practiced invisibility, replacing the full trash bins. Eleanor paced by the window, not acknowledging their existence. Sal, seeing the smoke rising from the engine, leaned close to Marcus. "Keep your head down today, kid," he whispered, his Boston accent thick. "She's in a mood. Smells like layoffs." As Marcus bent to empty a bin, his phone vibrated silently in his pocket. He glanced at the screen, his stomach tightening. A text from the hospital. "Ms. Cole's insurance copay for this week's treatment is due. Balance, $3,000. He closed his eyes for just a second, the financial pressure suffocating him. He pushed the cart toward the conference table. He paused by the $2 million engine. While Sal wiped down the glass, Marcus looked at the machine. His eyes, trained by his mechanic grandfather in Detroit, scanned the blueprints the engineers had left scattered. He saw the German specifications, metrisch. Then he saw the calibration notes scribbled in the margins by the Boston team. Imperial. His grandfather's voice echoed in his memory. "They ain't speaking the same language, boy." He spotted the discrepancy, a tiny, fractional difference in tolerance. Before he could process the thought, Eleanor slammed her hand on the intercom. "Get everyone to the main auditorium. All hands. No. I'm cutting the dead weight." Sal paled, his gaze darting from the CEO to Marcus. "That's us, kid," he whispered, his face ashen. "She's talking about us." If you're still watching and feel deeply about the injustice Marcus is facing, please comment with the keyword justice below to let us know you're still here. This is just the beginning. To see how Marcus, the silent mechanic, will face Eleanor's wrath, make sure you subscribe to Black Brilliance and turn on the notification bell. Your support helps us continue to tell powerful stories of talent and resilience. Now, let's see what Eleanor will do with the dead weight she just announced. The main auditorium was cold, filled with the anxious whispers of 200 employees who knew that an all-hands meeting on a Friday afternoon meant only one thing. Someone was going home without a job. Sal's warning, "She's talking about us," echoed in Marcus's head. They stood in the back, near the emergency exit, their gray uniforms making them blend in with the concrete walls. Marcus's mind was racing, torn between the $3,000 hospital bill on his phone and the metric to imperial conversion error he'd seen on the engine blueprint. Sal, meanwhile, was doing his best to become invisible, half hiding behind a structural pillar, just trying to make it to retirement. On stage, Eleanor Vance was bathed in a harsh spotlight, projecting an image of cold, ruthless control. She needed a scapegoat. In the front row, Dr. Evelyn Reed sat with her arms crossed, observing not just the technology, but the corporate culture that was failing it. "For 6 weeks, this company has been held hostage by failure," Eleanor began, her voice sharp and amplified. The whispers stopped. "This company is bleeding money. Effective immediately, we will begin cost reduction measures." A ripple of pure panic washed over the expensive suits in the front rows. Eleanor's gaze swept the room, pausing. "We have too much dead weight here. Her eyes deliberately landed on Marcus and Sal in the back. "We have people on payroll who contribute nothing to our bottom line," she said, her voice dripping with contempt. "People who just clean up." The engineering team, the ones who had actually failed, collectively looked down at their laps, relieved the blame was shifting. Sal visibly shrank. He leaned toward Marcus, his voice trembling. "Don't say anything, Marcus. Just let it pass. We just need to keep our jobs." Marcus stood frozen. He thought of his mother, frail in the hospital bed. He thought of his grandfather, his hands covered in grease in that Detroit garage, saying, "An engine doesn't lie, boy." He knew the deadweight wasn't him. It was Eleanor's own ignorance. He knew the answer. Eleanor finished, her voice like a judge's gavel. "So, if you are not part of the solution, you are the problem. We will begin terminations this afternoon, starting at the bottom." As the room filled with the sound of muffled sobs and nervous shuffling, a single, calloused hand rose in the back. Eleanor's challenge, "If you are not part of the solution," hung in the air like poison. Sal, seeing Marcus's hand, looked at him in terror, shaking his head and stepping further into the shadows. Marcus ignored him. 200 heads turned, a sea of disbelief. All eyes shifted from the spotlight on the stage to the man in the gray uniform. Eleanor squinted, her face tightening. "Yes? What is it, mister?" "Cole. Marcus Cole," he said. His voice was quiet, but in the stunned silence, it carried. "Man, I was listening to the engine during the test." He took a breath, gaining confidence. "I think the problem isn't the software integration. It's the harmonic frequency calibration." A few of the MIT engineers snickered. In the front row, Dr. Evelyn Reed leaned forward, intrigued. This was the first unexpected variable she'd seen all day. Eleanor's face cycled from confusion to disbelief, then to pure, predatory rage. This was public humiliation. She saw her chance to crush him and reassert her dominance. She stepped off the podium. The sharp click-clack of her heels on the polished floor echoed as she walked down the aisle toward him. She stopped inches from his face, looking down on him. The smell of her expensive perfume was suffocating. "A maintenance boy," she hissed, her voice low and dangerous. "A mechanic has an opinion on advanced AI engineering." Marcus met her gaze. He didn't flinch. "I'm a mechanic, ma'am." "Yes. My grandfather taught me to listen to engines." Eleanor smiled, a cruel, sharp smile, loud enough for the front rows to hear. "All right, mechanic. You want to be the solution? Here's your deal. The showdown has reached its climax. If you're still here and believe Marcus's knowledge, the mechanic will win over his arrogance. Comment mechanic below to let us know you're rooting for him. Will Eleanor take up her challenge? To watch this epic showdown, make sure you subscribe to Black Brilliance and turn on notifications. You won't want to miss this hidden talent shine through. Now, let's see what Eleanor's deal is. "Here's the deal, mechanic." Eleanor's voice boomed, dripping with sarcasm as she turned to address the shocked auditorium, her smile sharp and predatory. Marcus's quiet claim about harmonic frequency was now being twisted into a public spectacle. He was trapped. He thought of his mother's $3,000 hospital bill. He had no choice but to see this through. Sal, his only friend, had vanished back into the shadows by the exit, terrified. Eleanor grabbed Marcus by the arm of his uniform and pulled him from the aisle onto the bright stage, turning the meeting into a Roman Colosseum. The lights were blindingly hot. "Our maintenance consultant," she announced, her voice mocking. "This black mechanic thinks he knows more than $67 million worth of MIT engineers." She turned back to Marcus, her face inches from his. "Fine. You want to be the solution," she hissed. "Fix this engine and I'll marry you right here." The room erupted in cruel, nervous laughter. "When you fail," she continued, her voice dropping, "you're not just fired. Security will escort you out permanently." Eleanor snapped her fingers. "And get a camera in here. Let's live stream this on our company feed. Let the world see what happens when unqualified people step out of line." As the tech team scrambled to set up the live feed, Dr. Evelyn Reed stood up. Her expression was sharp and critical, not of Marcus, but of Eleanor's unprofessionalism. "I will serve as technical witness. Dr. Reed announced, her voice cutting through the noise. This is no longer a corporate spectacle. It is a formal, technical evaluation. Her eyes met Marcus's, offering not warmth, but fairness. The live stream count ticks up. 1,000, 5,000. As Marcus is marched back to the boardroom, the entire tech world now watching. It's fighting itself, Marcus said, his voice quiet but clear, ignoring the cameras as he placed both hands flat on the cold, $2 million engine block. The boardroom was tense. The live stream camera zoomed in on his hands, calloused, steady, a mechanic's hands. His grandfather's wisdom echoed in his head. Listen to the engine. It'll tell you what hurts. His only motivation was the $3,000 bill waiting on his phone. He was in his element. The fear was gone, replaced by the focus of a master craftsman. Dr. Evelyn Reed watched his every move, her pen poised over a notepad, her skepticism fading into fascination. Eleanor stood off to the side, watching the live stream comments on her phone. Her smug smile was freezing as she saw technical experts from Ford and Tesla start to agree with Marcus's theory. This engine was built in Germany, ma'am. Metric specs, Marcus said, looking directly at Dr. Reed. He pointed to the blueprint. The AI software was calibrated here in Boston. Imperial units. The AI is trying to correct a machine that's already perfect, but it's speaking a different language, he explained. It's a 0.003-inch conversion error. It's creating a catastrophic harmonic dissonance. The MIT engineers looked stunned. They had only looked at the software, never the physical tolerances. Marcus walked to a spare parts cabinet, pulled out a simple, $50 metal disc. It doesn't need new code. It just needs a translator, he said, holding up a harmonic dampener. With steady, practiced hands, he installed the component. It took 12 minutes. He stepped back. The room was silent. The live stream audience was now over 50,000. Ready for testing, Marcus said. Dr. Reed nodded grimly. Start the engine. The engine did not sputter. It awoke with a smooth, powerful purr, a perfect A-sharp, the sound of harmony that made Dr. Reed's eyes widen in disbelief. The mocking laughter from the auditorium felt a lifetime away, replaced by the stunned silence of the boardroom. The T1 challenge, fix this engine, had just been met. The diagnostic screens, previously flashing critical red, were now all glowing a steady, healthy green. The live stream comments, visible on Eleanor's phone, exploded with praise from engineers worldwide. Peeking in from the hallway, Sal's jaw was on the floor. Eleanor Vance's face was sheet white. Her phone was buzzing nonstop, but she was frozen, humiliated on a global scale. Marcus simply stepped back, giving a respectful nod to Dr. Reed. Dr. Reed stared at the readouts. In 40 years, she whispered, I've never seen readings this clean. 97% efficiency. The engine ran past the 14-minute failure point. 20 minutes. 30 minutes. It was perfectly stable. The MIT engineers, embarrassed but impressed, began to applaud. Dr. Reed shut off the engine. She signaled for the live stream to be cut. She looked at Eleanor, then at Marcus. Mr. Cole, she said, her voice formal, our German partners are increasing their investment by 20%, contingent on you leading the new European engine development program. She offered him a senior engineering position on the spot, salary commensurate with your expertise, plus full medical coverage. Then, Dr. Reed turned to Eleanor. As for you, Ms. Vance, she said coolly, the board will require a full review of management practices that allowed this company to sideline its most valuable asset. Back in the boardroom, Marcus looked at Dr. Reed. I accept the position, ma'am. Thank you. He didn't even look at Eleanor. 3 months later, Marcus, now in a sharp button-down shirt, met Sal at a classic Boston diner. It was Sal's last day before retirement. Sal raised his heavy ceramic coffee cup. To the mechanic who married the CEO, he joked. Marcus smiled. Just paying the bills, Sal. Just paying the bills. The story ends at the diner. Marcus pays the check, leaving a generous tip, and walks out into the sunlight, finally free. In the quiet of that Boston diner, we are reminded of the story's true heart. True brilliance isn't always found in a diploma. Sometimes, it's found in a pair of calloused hands that simply know how to listen. When we set aside judgment, we open the door to true compassion. Have you ever witnessed a moment where true worth was overlooked? We invite you to share your own experiences in the comments below. To hear more stories that celebrate hidden genius and the power of dignity, we hope you'll consider subscribing and joining the community at Black Brilliance.